LeBron and the Lakers are probably going to be married to each other for the rest of his playing career, as he signed a contract extension that will take him to year 23 in the NBA. However, there was a slight pay cut he took that is way bigger than people realize, and it has a very consequential effect on how the Lakers are able to compile a championship level roster. What's good, y'all, and welcome to another Lakers Digest video. I'm your host, Okechi Apakama, and before we get into everything we have for you today, I just want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Now, let's hop straight into the topics we have for you today, as LeBron's pay cut could have paid dividends for the Lakers. So, the Lakers have not had an eventful offseason, as they were going after guys that either didn't choose them or they just didn't have the money financially to make a deal work. So that's why the only acquisitions they've had is Dawson Connect and Bronny James, the draft picks of this season. And then they've re-signed their guys, Max Christie and LeBron James, and they had 4 guys all pick up their player options. So the Lakers have been pretty capped out on roster spots. So with LeBron recently just signing to his contract extension, a lot of people assumed that it was going to be the maximum slot. However, he did take less than the maximum, which is very important here, as LeBron is taking nearly a $3 million discount to keep with the Los Angeles Lakers under the dreaded second apron. James is signing a 2-year, $101 million deal instead of a 2-year, $104 maximum he could have re-signed for, according to league sources. Along with his player option and no trade clause, James' contracts also include a 15% trade kicker, those sources say. So that was from Sean Serrani and Johan Buha of The Athletic. And essentially, they were saying that LeBron James took a little bit less just to help the Lakers out in this whole second apron situation. For a lot of people who are just new to this, the NBA implemented new rules about a first and second apron, where if you go over a certain amount of dollars on your salary cap for your team, then you are restricted into making moves, adding guys on your team, and so on and so forth. So for the Los Angeles Lakers to be under the second apron is very huge, because if some of the rules that in the first and second apron they have are very complicated, but essentially some of the things that they could not, or that would restrict the Los Angeles Lakers in some of these deals. So the Lakers are now only limited to the first apron restrictions, which not only include to acquire player via sign and trade, or not being able to use more than the taxpayer mid-level exception, which is worth about $5.2 million, or not being allowed to use a pre-existing trade exception or take back additional salary in a trade, among several restrictions. So that's some of the restrictions that the Lakers are looking at here in the first apron. It would have been much different if they were in the second apron, as they could lose things like draft picks in the future, or not being able to make moves, whether it's signing guys via buyout or so on and so forth. But this is very big for the Los Angeles Lakers, because they haven't been able to make any moves. So if they are able to just try to get a little wiggle room and helping from a guy like LeBron James, as he's stated before, even early in the offseason, he was willing to take a bigger pay cut to bring in a bigger name, a la Klay Thompson, a DeMar DeRozan, someone of that ilk, some of that nature, Jonas Valanciunas. One of those guys, LeBron definitely would have took a pay cut for them to come to Los Angeles. However, that did not happen, so he just took a slight pay cut, which was to get the Lakers under the second apron, which, like I said, is very huge when it comes to making moves and deals and so on and so forth. So LeBron James doing that for the Lakers is not, he talked about it actually to Dan Wilkie of the LA Times, and this is what he said about it. And he said, me being able to be in a situation where I can protect the franchise under the second apron, understanding that this is a new thing and is very hard for a lot of teams as far as them trying to get better, whatever the case may be. I've been okay with the relationship with the Lakers going on 7 years. I'm absolutely okay with taking a pay cut. So that's a little bit what LeBron said after a scrimmage that the Team USA had. And LeBron is kind of right here, as the Lakers, yes, they've tried to make moves. Yes, they have failed on making some of these bigger acquisitions, but not entirely of their faults doing, whether it's, like I said, another player choosing another team, or just the Lakers just financially not having the money to make the deal work. because some of these trades and acquisitions that's happened. So Klay Thompson is a great example. As yes, he got his way to the Dallas Mavericks, and yes, he did take a pay cut. However, it was a 6-team deal that they had to get done, and it was a lot of moving of money, and then things got to be right correctly, especially if you're under the first and second apron that I was talking about earlier, because some of those second apron restrictions for some of these teams are going to be very restrictive. So a team like the Phoenix Suns are not able to maneuver or add guys to their squad as well, whether it's adding guys via sign and trade or adding guys via free agency. Just because not only one, you're hard capped, but also two, you can only get the taxpayer mid-level exception. Not if you get in the second apron, but you only get veteran minimum guys that you can sign for if you're in that realm. So it really limits you on what you're trying to do and try to build your team. So at least for the Lakers, this kind of gives them some kind of move and some kind of leverage. So what is kind of left there on the market for the Lakers to pursue? And that brings me to my next topic here, as the players still on the market. Still is some good players here and there. Not really guys who are going to change your franchise overnight, but these are guys that can really add to your team, maybe add a different element that you never had. So there are a couple of names that have been floated around. This was from Johan and Shams Charania of The Athletic. And so they said guys like Gary Trent Jr. and Spencer Dinwiddie are two names to watch for the Lakers in order to clear enough space to use the taxpayer mid-level exception. And then just below that, there are some more rules about the second apron. So, had the Lakers become a second apron team, they would have suffered several harsh restrictions regarding how they're able to build their roster for the rest of the offseason. For example, teams above the second apron cannot trade first-round picks 7 years into the future. They cannot trade cash in a deal, and they lose the mid-level exception, and they are limited to 100% salary matches in trade and cannot combine multiple players in a deal among several restrictions. So I know a lot of people love to take their time and like hop into the NBA trade machine and make these trades happen. But then now if you're implementing these new rules on you, it does really restrict you and try to making certain deals. So that's why some of these guys who kind of seem like they could be available to the Lakers also aren't in some situations, just because you have to match salary when you're making these trades. So if the Lakers were to make a trade, either they would have to try to have a salary dump, whether it's trading some of the end of the bench guys, but there is a rule also within the second apron that they can't trade multiple veteran minimum guys. So you can't trade a guy like, say, Christian Wood and Cam Reddish in a deal. You would have to trade one or the other to sort of make that work. And then to go along with that, the Lakers would have to, since they're in that first apron, they would have to try to match salary. So say if they're trying to trade out D'Angelo Russell, they cannot take more salary back. It has to be where D'Angelo Russell's contract is at or lower than that. So all these restrictions are really making it hard for the Lakers to make those certain type of deals, just because the way their roster is. They do have a lot of mid-level contracts, so they are able to make trades, but it just makes things a little bit harder. But some of those names there, Gary Trent Jr. and Spencer Dinwiddie, one we already know already is Spencer Dinwiddie, as he spent the end of the season there with the Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah, he had some good moments here and there. He was able to do some things. He had that huge block on Damian Lillard against the Bucks when the Lakers played the Bucks at home without LeBron James. But he wasn't really able to showcase what he was got into the league doing, as he was just playing a role on that team, and he wasn't able to really do much offensively just because of all the guys ahead of him. So Spencer Dinwiddie, we know a little bit of what he can do, but if you're going to get Gabe Vincent back healthy and you're planning to play him, then I think that's probably the guy that you go with, as Gabe Vincent we've seen it before at the highest level, as he's been in the NBA Finals and was able to perform at a high level. So if he's able to get back to some of that, then I think that's kind of the move that you go with. I'm more interested in Gary Trent Jr., as he's more of a guy that the Lakers have kind of been coveting for a couple of years now, and he's a 3-and-D guy prototypical guy. He's also a guy who can really catch fire at moments. So he has that similar feel to a guy like D'Angelo Russell, where he can hit 3, 4, 5 threes in a row, and then that can change things in a game when a role player or a guy of that caliber can do that for your team. So Gary Trent Jr. to me is a name the Lakers would have to look out for. However, they would need to move some salary to make that work, to get that full $5.2 million for the taxpayer mid-level exception. So that would have to come with it, whether it's trading one of their bigger contracts, say a D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, or Jared Vanderbilt, or they would have to trade out some of their minimum guys, and that would have to be in separate deals. They can't trade them both in the same deal, so that makes things harder. And then there are also guys who aren't really coveted around the league, so you might have to attach a second round pick when you're trading out some of these minimum guys. So the Lakers have some wiggle room to make, due in large part to what LeBron James have did taking less and not having Lakers be in the second apron. However, it's not too much legroom, and I do think the Lakers are going to make a move, but to see what type of move it is going to be, and whether it's, like I said, moving some of these minimum guys or moving one of their bigger contracts, we don't really know, or we're not really sure what it is. So hopefully the Lakers are able to cobble something together and get a roster to where they are able to compete in this Western Conference, because it is not going to be easy from top to bottom. I don't think there really is any team, I think with the exception of maybe the Utah Jazz, because I'm not sure if they're trying to win, but most of these teams here in the Western Conference are here to win, and they're here to get better. So the Lakers have to be aware of that and be willing to make some adjustments if need be. But like I said at the beginning of the video, guys, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. There is only 26% of you guys subscribe to the channel, so make sure you guys come to the channel and subscribe if you guys enjoy the content. Let us know what you guys think about LeBron James taking a pay cut, and what do you think you can do for the Los Angeles Lakers, and what other guys would you even like to see on the Lakers team, whether it is Spencer Dinwiddie or Gary Trent Jr. or somebody not named, maybe a Tyus Jones, or maybe somebody else of that nature. Let us know in the comments down below. I have been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.